Hello friends, we are back for some Christmas content. I'm very excited about this video. It's different than what I've done in the past, but I want to sort of warm you up to this idea of Christmas decorating and kind of let you into some of the behind the scenes of how I prepare each year. One of the things I like to do is go through all of my Christmas bins. I have 9 at this point, and I would like to cut that in half, see if I can do it. I'm kind of challenging myself with that this year. I'm giving a lot of things to my kids who have moved out. I am just being ruthless with how much I really like the item and being really honest, one item at a time, and going through that. And wow, Nala is totally decimating some garland. So I'm gonna have to deal with her in a second. But I like to go through all of my things first and then see what kind of pieces I need to supplement with, what things I want to make. And actually that's a big focus in my Handmade Holidays group that we are doing right now. You can join us if you want. I'll walk you through the whole process. But definitely we are purging before we start decorating, and then I like to look back at old content. And I mean, I have the luxury of having videos and photographs of what I did in years past and thinking about what I really liked about certain things and what I don't want to repeat. And so I thought maybe you would like to look through some of the old content that is still really useful. And so if you've already seen these videos, that's okay. I feel like it's a good type of video to be playing maybe in the background while you're decorating, and you don't have to like focus in on it like you did originally. But so anyway, today is the Christmas decorating marathon of some of the best videos that we've had in the past, and you can sit and enjoy those at your leisure. This time of year can really get away from us, and we start to feel a lot of pressure and guilt and lose our peace. And so I want to keep talking about this because I think we need it. We need to be reminded. One of the verses that helps me so much, especially this time of year, is Colossians 3:15. It says, "And let peace, the soul harmony which comes from Christ's rule, act as an umpire continually in your hearts, deciding and settling with finality all the questions that arise in your minds in that peaceful state." Let peace act as an umpire. I think that is so good and such a good picture for us as we're trying to decide, what are we going to take part in? What are we going to let go of? Let peace act as an umpire. Maybe it's time to not make so many cookies. Maybe we just give out cookie dough this year. Maybe it's time to not make all of the cheesecakes for the Christmas party. Maybe we get Costco cheesecakes and we style them up with fresh berries or something like that. But ways that we can still do what's important to us this time of year, but do it peacefully. So I just pray for all of us that we will have the creativity and the understanding to pivot when we need to pivot and hold on to our peace. So in addition to sorting all of my decor and looking over my schedule, I really try to keep myself healthy through December. I have learned that the hard way. And there's certain things that I like to have on hand to stay healthy. I've got different, food needs with kids and myself. And so I had to think ahead because we have a lot of exposure to sugar and gluten and things that we try to avoid around here. But the good health food store it's like 40 minutes round trip for us to get there. And I have this little challenge that I do every December. I challenge myself to not go into stores. I mean, the worst one for me is Costco. I'm so scared of Costco in December. I have gotten basically stampeded in Costco before. So I try not to go to Costco. I do just challenge myself to be, have the things done or shop online more because I don't like the crowds. And so one of the things that I am doing this year is I am using the Thrive Markets for some of the healthier things that we are needing around here. So if you haven't heard of Thrive Market, it is an online health food grocery store, basically. And you do get a membership, although if you do not earn your savings back equal to your membership, they will refund the difference to you. It's amazing. Their prices are outstanding. I'm gonna show you what I got here. And of course, they deliver it straight to your door. I placed my order, I got my box within like 24 hours. That is good news for a girl who needs help in December. I love our clothes to smell like lavender, and I've been using a lavender laundry soap for the last many years. But this one is cheaper than the one that I've been using, and so I'm really excited to try this. I grabbed a couple of things that I think will make really good stocking stuffers. It's lavender lotion. I love lavender so much. So I have gluten-free muffins that can be good stocking stuffers. Hope my kids don't watch this video. And last of all, this is my favorite that I've been. Have you tried this pasta? These are made with cassava. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So I haven't talked about this much, but in the last year, I have been doing an autoimmune diet to deal with some autoimmune issues. And you gotta do gluten-free if you're dealing with autoimmune stuff, which by the way, it took a while. I started last November and I didn't see like real healing until the summer, so it took a while and I didn't think it was working, but I so recommend that diet. And the issue with gluten-free food is a lot of it is kind of grainy and doesn't taste right. I don't really like rice pasta. I don't really like the bean pasta, but this stuff is gold. This is cassava pasta. I bought a lot so that I can double up my recipes. I do that a lot in November. I like doing that because I have all the ingredients out right there. It's a lot less effort to make a second version of that dish because I'm already chopping all the carrots or whatever. Like last night I made 2 batches of chicken soup and it was easy because I was already in the mode. And then I will freeze the second dinner and then I'll use those in December to help me stay out of the stores. So this pasta is my all-time favorite and I cannot find it for a good price anywhere. Thrive Market has the best prices, which incidentally, if you find a product that you like on Thrive Market, because they have tons of brands. They have a lot of the big organic and healthy brand names on there. So Annie's, Chomp, Kind, Jovial. And if you find a cheaper price out there, they will price match it for you. They are just bending over backwards to bring you really quality products at prices that are really good for you. I noticed when I was shopping that I could just put filters on the products and get the gluten-free, and I could get to the dairy-free, and I could get to the low sugar, and I could just quickly see all that was available. So if you're on any type of food restrictions, that feature is so nice. If your order is $49 or more, the shipping is free. This is, I think, my favorite part about what they're doing is for every annual paid membership, they offer a free one to people that are needing it. So they're bending over backwards and they're doing a really great job of supplying this need of inexpensive, convenient, healthy food. So thank you to Thrive Market for sponsoring today's video. So if you join Thrive Market today, you will get 30% off your first order plus a free gift with a value of up to $60. All right, continuing on with the Christmas marathon, let's look at some ideas that you can implement into your own space. And one of the things that I noticed as I was watching old videos is the things that we did last year that I was predicting were gonna be trends. So many of them have taken root and they are all in the stores. They're way cheaper. Last year we were DIYing flocked ornaments and honeycomb ornaments because they couldn't find them. And hello, people are catching on, companies are catching on. I saw velvet ornaments in Michael's, like a whole set of them for $10 this year. Honeycomb ornaments are all over Hobby Lobby. So it's a good year to be decorating. Well, hello my dears. I'm excited for today's video. I'm gonna let you in on the things that I've been collecting all year, because I do collect all year for my Christmas decorating. It's something that I think you should always be looking for when you're pinning on Pinterest, and then you should be collecting, you know, when you're at the thrift stores or you are at the antique stores. Just always kind of have your eyes open, even if it's something that isn't necessarily Christmassy, but maybe it's just red and white and it will work in Christmas. I think that's a good way to go too. So I have been collecting. I'm gonna share with you about 14 items that I have had on hand, and I just got off a podcast interview with Lisa from Farmhouse on Boone, and we were talking about Christmas decorating, and she said that she specifically will refrain when she's out thrifting because she'll see something that's holiday inspired, and she will purposely not get it because she doesn't think she knows how to store it or that she'll remember she even had it. And so I thought that was a really good point, and I just want to throw this out how I do it. I have Rubbermaid totes. I have 9 of them and could go more if I need to, but 9 seems to be about right. And that 9th one, I leave at least half empty, if not all empty. And then as I'm shopping and finding, you know, 1 or 2 items on sale or, you know, at a garage sale or something, I will stick it in that 9th bin, and I just always know that I have that space. I don't even catalog it because I have like a whole inventory system to keep track of my seasonal decorating, but I don't even write it down. It just goes in the bin, and then I just know each year when it's time to do the decorating, I get to pull that bin out, and it's always kind of a fun surprise, like, oh, I forgot I had that, and I get to incorporate those new items into the current year. Okay, the first item we're gonna look at today is a dress form. I see these all the time in antique stores. I paid $40 for it, and I've got an idea for how I want to style with a cedar garland and just like a feminine touch and a skirt. And anyway, I have an idea. We'll see how it goes. Normally I have it styled actually in right here on a stool with my mother's wedding dress, but I originally picked it up for Christmas decorating because I want to make it's sort of like a feather boa, but it's with cedar garland and a fa la la garland. And anyway, it's cute in my head. This is a crocheted tablecloth. You know, I think you're gonna find that a lot of what I choose isn't necessarily Christmas, and hopefully that's encouraging to you. Maybe you'll see things around your space that, you know, with new eyes, and you can not have to spend so much on Christmas decorating. But I think crocheted tablecloths are gorgeous. I mean, when you look at that, like, don't you just see snowflakes? So I actually have used this in all kinds of different ways already. I love it across the back of a couch. I love it across the foot of a bed, and of course as a tablecloth. But I thought that I have 2 of these. I thought that they would make beautiful tree skirts. I don't buy tree skirts. I just haven't bought tree skirts. I would use, you know, a white sheet, or I think that this would be really pretty. Next up is a stocking holder. This is the only one I have, but it made me think of my husband. He is my hunter, and every time I see elk or deer, that makes me think of him. So I grabbed this for just a few dollars. I may change the color. We'll see how that all comes together. I have a lot of my ideas in my head. I write them, you know, out on many pages of papers for each room has its own page of ideas and sketches, and it really helps a lot. It actually helps things not get too messy before I'm creating the space. But I never know for sure when I'm doing any design. I never know 100% how it's gonna look until I'm doing it, and I actually have the 3D aspect of it to really understand how things are gonna work. And so the plans are helpful, but in the end, there's no substitute for actually designing the space. Okay, then I found this stocking. It's super furry. This is gonna be the dog's stocking. I think I paid $2 for this. And currently, if you're looking for good stockings, the best priced ones that I felt like looked pretty nice were at Walmart. So if you need to get new stockings. Then I found a whole bunch of jingle bells. And I loved how aged they looked. That's what drew me to them. I have 2 different sizes. I've already made I made a pillow was it last year? It had a felt poinsettia on it. It was a knockoff of a Pottery Barn pillow. And I put these on as the berries, not berries, the stamen, I guess is what it is, the center part of the poinsettia. And then I made a garland with these. I've tied them on gifts. I think that they are a fun way to just bring in a little vintage Christmas touch. I mean, I might just use the rest of these in a little container or something. Okay, and you know I'm gonna say it. Always grab transferware. I have some green and I have some red. If you've been around, you know that I am a little bit skittish about using red in my decorating. It's not part of my branding or anything, but I recently heard from Phoebe at the Maple House Collective, and she was in a magazine, and she said that she likes to incorporate red in her kitchen, especially during the holidays, because it has a very French flair to it, and add in just a lot of baked goods and things. And I thought that's really good advice. I'm gonna try that this year. We're gonna see some red in my kitchen. So grab transferware. Beautiful. You can hang these on your wall. You can display these on shelves. And then this is a record. I have a record player. I think the crackly sound and the sweet, simple tunes, they really take me back and put me in a good mood. I love especially to cook Italian food to record music. That is really fun. And then my second favorite is Christmas music. So I found this. It's a Firestone record, and I kind of think that they gave these out free or something. It's fun because my grandfather owned a Firestone gas station back in the day. And so I could ask my father about this. Did they give these out at Firestone gas stations? But this one has Julie Andrews and James McCracken and some fun names on here. So we'll have some crackly Christmas music going on. Then I found this rolling pin, and I have shared this in the past, but I haven't actually used it in the past. This was at Goodwill. These are fun with the little, to me it looks like a sweater print. And I love the detailing, this pattern on here. I have an idea that I saw. I'm gonna do it in my Handmade Holidays series. That's an email group that follows along with my DIYs for Christmas. I think that it will be cute to just use this to roll out cookie dough, and then take cookie cutters, or just even cut out the shape of a mitten and a sweater. Because I feel like this has that perfect knit Christmas sweatery look to it, and so it's gonna just be an easy texture, and then maybe we'll glaze them and stuff. But I just feel like that's such a perfect way to use these that is so believable. All right, and then I'm always looking for ornaments, specifically really vintage ornaments. So I got this set, $2 from Goodwill. And they clearly have that vintage glass charm to them. I'm not gonna mess with these. Sometimes I take ornaments and I'll repaint them, or I'm making some this year that look like velvet. I'm making some that look like amber glass. But these ones I'm gonna leave alone. I think that they are beautiful the way that they are in this current state. I might add a ribbon, but I love how vintage they look. Okay, you guys hanging in there? I have shared these in the past too. I just got these in Snohomish, but I thought I will show them in the collection because they were just part of a shopping haul. But now I want you to know more of what I'm gonna do with these. These are beeswax, kind of a honeycomb. They're a stamped beeswax, but I just loved the texture, and I think it was only a couple dollars for a set of 6. And then I have different brass candlestick holders, different heights, different styles. And I'm specifically gonna use these because they're so special to me. I'm gonna use them as our Advent candles on probably our coffee table. So you can be looking for those. I don't wanna just let them go. You know, you're not gonna let these just burn all night, but it would be good for something, you know, that you're really focusing on in the moment and appreciating them so you're not wasting them. So these are gonna be our Advent candles. Okay, and this, I hope does not gross you out. Don't hate me, but I bought these a year ago. These are from IKEA, and I bought 4 of them, and they're gingerbread houses. My point at bringing this up is that at the end of the season, I'm tired. I'm guessing you're pretty tired and kind of wanting to be done with the Christmas decorating, wanting to clean it up. But I want you to dig deep. And I want you to go to Joann's, and I want you to go to Walmart or Target or IKEA or, you know, regular places that you normally would shop, and check the after season sales because they're really, really good. I mean, 90% off oftentimes. Things are $1. They just want them out of there. They don't want to store them, and so you're going to store them. And you will find just amazing deals and throw them in that, you know, ninth bin that you have where you know you'll find them again. You don't have to understand what you're going to do with them yet, but just you're just kind of gleaning all the great deals out there and preparing yourself for the following year. So that's where these came from. So it's beyond garage sales and thrift stores. It's also that after the season just bounty that is out there. 3 more things. This is my latest find. I got this yesterday. I got this yesterday. It was $10. I don't, sometimes I'm not happy with the prices at Goodwill these days. But I still thought it was worth it because I love a good wreath frame. Okay, I'll probably use some liquid nails because this part came off. But it's a frame that doesn't have a frame. It's glass, and then it just has this little thin strip of metal, and you open it up. These are my favorites. Open up like this, and then put your picture in. They're really pretty. It needs to be cleaned, but I have purchased some really great Christmas art on Etsy this year, and I think I'm gonna put this in. I also think that I want to probably rub and buff this to make it gold because my other frames are gold. Maybe I'll change this to a velvet ribbon or something. Anyway, I think I can make this. So this isn't Christmassy per se, but be collecting things that you also can turn into a Christmassy look. 2 more things. These also were end of the season finds. I think I paid $1 and I got a lot, maybe 8 packages of these silvery little sprigs. They kind of look a little too silvery to me. My favorite is a champagne look. That looks so vintage. These are a little tinsely looking. I bought a whole champagne tinsely Christmas tree, and it was an after sale tree, so I've never even set it up. So this is my year to use my champagne tree. But if I find that these are too silvery, what I'm gonna do is take some gold spray paint and just lightly dust them, because a champagne metallic color has a little bit of warmth to it. So I think I can create that. And the last item, you knew I was gonna say this too, were green and red books. These are just a no-brainer, these linen vintage books. When you find them, snatch them up. They are beautiful at Christmas, and I think they are beautiful on a shelf. They're beautiful on a coffee table. You can tie a ribbon on them. There's a lot of things you can do. It's just an added little filler that's always gonna be a win. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know in the comments below which items were your favorite, which items you've been finding, anything you want to add to a list. I wanna hear it. I love learning from each of you. I hope you're enjoying the Christmas marathon and you got a lot of ideas from these videos. Don't forget to join Thrive Market if that's something that's gonna help you this year. You'll get 30% off your first order and then a free gift with a value of up to $60. Oh, it's time. we change the porch over first. I feel like it's such a just a statement to the family, even the dog. They do it during the day, and then people come home at night, and it's so exciting. I get so much good feedback on the new look each season. On that first day where I change the porch out, I have this old, well, quote old, Salal garland. I had this on my banister last year. It's real and it's dried now, but I'm thinking I want it here on the door. So we're gonna just off-center it. All I have are two little nails here from a project. I guess I did Christmas garland here maybe 3 years ago. So that's all. And you can see how I have it just floral. I had made bouquets of it and just wired it together with floral wire, a lot of wire. But I'm gonna use this as a base. And then I'm trying to find different pieces off the property, different greeneries that are gonna work. And I like to work with probably 4 total of different sizes of leaves, different textures, different shapes. So this is bittersweet. This will be good and kind of wild looking. And I figure about, for something this size, like I'm gonna get 25 little stems. It didn't take me very long. Once I picked my greenery that I wanted, I kind of went around and sampled a bunch of things. So if you have a friend that you could do this with for free, that would be really nice. We have a couple of huge holly bushes. I'm really grateful for these this time of year. So there'll be a teeny little pop of red. And then of course I always deep clean, which means I do touch-up painting, I clean windows, I deal with all the cobwebs. All right, I've made my decision on the different greenery that I want to use, and I recommend 4 different types if you're going to be trying to fill out a garland. And if you have a base like I have, that's really, I feel like that makes it so much easier. Trying to build it yourself is a whole nother level of advanced DIYing. So if you have one, I mean, you can just buy one at Hobby Lobby or Joann's or something and then add to it. I think that's really the best way to go. And there's 4 different types of leaves that I like to work with. I like a broadleaf. So what I have now, the Salal that I used, this is from last year that I had. I just dried it and stored it. And any type of sort of round or like an oval flat leaf is a good one to have. Also pay attention to varying your different shades of green. I think that really helps too. So once you have your broadleaf, then get an evergreen. So I'm choosing cedar. I have a lot of cedar on my property. Love cedar anyway. I just think it's so classic and vintage looking. If it's all you have, I would choose cedar. That's to me the very best. Then my third choice is some holly. We have a lot of holly on our property. So I got 25 stems of cedar, 25 stems of holly. And then this is called bittersweet. And I like it because it's kind of twiggy and wild, and I feel like it's gonna bring a really sort of whimsical look to the whole piece. So I have these 3 and I have 25 stems of each kind, and I'm just gonna work these into the Salal garland that I have up on the door. So let's go ahead and do that. The cool thing about this, when you add in pieces into an existing garland, you don't have to wire it. I mean, I feel like it's almost like it's Velcro. You just kind of thread it in and it holds it.
I kind of had a pattern going here. If this isn't something that you're comfortable with, I know some people are more, I don't know, they feel more comfortable being artistic, but I'm just going kind of on the left side and then the right side, and I'm staggering it every about 4 inches, and then I'll put some maybe in the exact middle of the garland. That's kind of the pattern I'm doing. And then I step back once in a while and decide, you know, is there a bare spot I want to fill in? So I did the cedar first, and now I feel like cedars, because it kind of lays flat, and so it's kind of a good backdrop. Then I'm coming in with my better texture with the holly. It's pretty sharp, so I'm wearing gloves here. But same thing, just, you know, right and left side, back and forth, alternating, and then a little in the middle once in a while. Really building this out. I wanted to feel like kind of like a fairy bower. I even wanted it kind of like hanging into the doorway a little bit, just so the light coming through the porch lights at night would filter and make little shadows, and maybe you had to feel like you had to duck just a tiny bit when you walk through the door. It has a real wedding-esque feel, or kind of a fairy feel. I really like it. I think it's the contrasting textures that are so good. For the urns, I did the holly and the cedar. Basically my goal was to cover the dirt, kind of keep the very tips of the stems where I cut them, kind of keep them all together, so it sort of spiraled it all around. Of course, I had to sweep again, clean up my mess, and I brought in just buckets of bittersweet. They're not even in water. I think it's cold enough that this will work. I added the sled to the wall, and then the fir throw and this church pew that I inherited from an aunt. So really simple, but got good texture, good warmth with the wood. For the final touch, I just thought it would be fun to sprinkle some pine cones around. The dog likes them. I don't know how long they're gonna last, but they're not really in the pathway. I kind of have a like confetti, I feel like.
We're basically done with the porch. I'm very happy with it. I'm starting to hone in on more of I'm calling it my Edwardian phase, where I love the sort of Victorian look, but I'm bringing in the masculinity of King Edward, who came after Victoria, if you understand the history of interior design. And so there's a little bit more of a like arts and crafts feel mixed into Victorian, so there's really nice juxtaposition between Victorian, or like a masculine and feminine, that I really like that look. So I'm really trying to do an Edwardian Christmas this year. Everything's kind of wild and free, and so I have just one more thing to do on the porch, and then we are done. I am simply going to add just some ribbon and some bells to the front door, and then I'll show you the final look. We have these, I don't know if they're goat bells or cow bells. I'll link them. I got them on Amazon, and they came in a pack of 10, so I just took 5. You can see that I tied them onto a piece of jute, and they're about maybe 1.5 inches apart. So that's how we're gonna get this look. Then I'm gonna count over 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna pinch right between the second and the third bell, so we have a little bit of a A little bit of an asymmetry going on there, and I'm just gonna hang this on the hook. This hook here is a $5 command strip hook. It's just a plastic thing. I love it though. It's a great solution, especially for holiday decorating. You've got to be using command hooks. And so it's just stuck on the door, and I can pull it off anytime. Then this silver piece goes over the top. We're gonna hang the bells first. I always like bells on the door because you get that little merriment when you open the door each time. Then I have wide velvet or satin ribbon. This is double-sided satin. It's my favorite. And I believe I got this at Ribbon Bazaar. I will link this for you below, the exact one that I'm using. But I have 2 strips here. Let's just do this from the beginning. So I took 2 different strips of this ribbon. Looks like, let's see, a yard. About 2 yards per ribbon. I have 2 of them. We're just gonna stack them on top of each other. You can make your tails a little bit off balance, so it's not, you know, so we have some variation at the end there. And then I'm just going to tie this on the hook. Okay. Just like I would do a regular bow. Now, one thing I really like with my bow is to get it a little, I love variety, you know, you want to get some contrast. So you want to pull one of the bows tighter than the other one. So your loops, you've got shorter loops and longer loops. You want your tails to be a little bit different lengths. You want your ears to be a little bit different. Okay, and then you want to cover that hook. You can kind of pull the bells to the front, and I always kind of fan it out like that. And then I'm loving blue velvet ribbon this season. You're going to see it popping up a lot in my decorating, and I love that it just is a little shout out to the color of the door. So we're going to stick this in here wherever we can. Let's see if I come back. Come from behind. The trick is that you want this front piece to be the pretty satin, and then all these other things that you're trying to use as accents, just kind of pull them around to the front and let the tails go behind. Like that. All right, let's get a good shot here.
I really wanted to show you at night. Grabbed my camera and came out. This is where the magic happens. I love all the shadows and the light filtering through. This is going to be a great 2023 porch.
Well, hello my dears. It is time to begin the Christmas touring of my house. As we go, it's going to be somewhat of an I Spy game. So I'm going to share the things that we've been making in the Handmade Holidays group. I have an email group. If you're in it, you know what I'm talking about. We've been making things secretly, quietly over the last few weeks, getting ready for our Christmas decorations to be done on time and handmade. So you're gonna see a lot of those items. I'll be pointing those out, and also items that I thrifted that you may have seen in my last video, which was the things that I've been collecting all year, thrifting and antiquing. So there's a lot of fun things to see that you may already know about, and now you get to see them on display. And I will be describing sort of the roadblocks that I ran into in this room and the solutions that I came up with and why I came up with them, because I want you to learn interior design as we go too. I decided to just work on the bed and work on the mantle and add a tree in our room. I think that's enough, and it's still magical and cozy, so you don't have to do every square inch in your house. You start to get overwhelmed. Just pick a couple key spots that you're gonna spruce up. Okay, here we go. I had initially thought that I would do a William Morris inspired room in here, and so I got some wrapping paper, I got some fabric, and I got these beautiful stockings off of Etsy. I decided that this yellow and green one was a little bit much, and so I'm gonna use this probably actually in my hallway. So be looking for that in the future. Really beautiful detailing, but it was just too many colors, so I decided to just simplify it and do, you know, blues and touches of this deep gold in this room. And then I always start with the big pieces. So that would have been the rocker, the tree, and then my dress form. I decided to put my mom's wedding dress on the dress form, and then it's sitting on a stool. So I got those three put in place, decided I wanted the lights on the tree, and then there was so much green with the tree and the little dresser that I decided against a garland on the dress form and on the mantle. It was just too much green. So I dialed it way back, and I'm just doing this simple ribbon idea here for my garland. I have the wide satin green for my base, and then I'm adding this beautiful velvet navy over the top. And then you may remember we made this jingle bell garland in the Handmade Holidays group. We just hot glued jingle bells on a ribbon. So this is where it's showing up. I'm using it as the third layer in my garland, and I just used Scotch tape, and I'm tucking in some faux cedar to kind of soften these candlestick holders. And these candles, oh my gosh, told you sooner, but they are battery operated off Amazon. They're wonderful. So I have a thrifted fur stocking, these little goat bells that I made, and my William Morris stocking. I had this fa la 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 garland that was actually red, and I spray painted it. That's all I'm going to add to the dress here. And then these postcards I found on Etsy. I love them, and I've used them for a couple years to, the front side or the back side. I'm just going to pen them with these T-pins onto my bulletin board. And that is all we're going to do for the bulletin board. It doesn't take much, and I love that the stamps are red and green. This is a champagne bucket that I thrifted, and this silver tinsel tree is from Target. It's $10. And then that's all I need to do on the top of this little dresser. We made these little ballerinas, cut them out of folded paper in my Handmade Holidays group. And then we also painted some mercury glass ornaments and distressed them while they were still wet. We just wiped off a little bit of paint on the raised edges. I'm finding that with a clear wax, it really finishes off the look. So I recommend doing that. This is the two that I ended with. It's a light blue and then the navy blue. I really like how they turned out. And I just need to add some velvet ribbon. So I'm cutting about maybe a foot of velvet ribbon and just threading them through. This is a really popular look right now for hanging ornaments, and you just tie it one time and let the tails hang down. I really love how they turned out. I left a few just plain for the mercury glass look. These are woodland animal, very William Morris inspired ornaments. I just bought plastic little animals on Amazon and spray painted them gold, and the velvet ribbons are hot glued on. I think these will be perfect. I loved using my wrapping paper with the velvet ribbons. It's just a little touch of William Morris, and I will have more of them throughout the house. This is actually the fabric. I ended up not making a pillow with the fabric, just use it for wrapping paper. And if you don't know who William Morris is, he is a famous interior designer, architect that really changed the face of design when he came on the scene. And his patterns are being really revived, and especially wallpapers, but they're really recognizable all in a lot of different places. Definitely fabrics and wallpapers, artwork. Adding some greenery to the chandelier, which is pretty standard for me. I don't even wire it. I just keep adding it until it just kind of all holds together, builds on top of each other. And I always really rethink my bedding each season and think about just the temperature needs at the time and the colors I want to use. So I'm going to bring in, well, mostly gold and white and green. I have a lot of blues in the rugs, so I'm going to let them handle the blues as far as matching what's going on the mantle. The bedding is really subdued. I think the best part of this design this season is this fur throw that I thought looks good with the fur stocking going on the mantle, and then bringing in some plaid green in this throw blanket and a lumbar that I made a couple years ago with thrifted fabric. I like all the greens going on over here. Then we'll put the vintage Santa. I got this Santa from Cottonwood Shanty.
this is a print. It really went off of sort of the Christmas ball theme that I wanted to have touches of in this space. The print is from The Lost Gallery from Krista Meeker. She's on Etsy. And then I'm gonna just reuse this platter from actually my fall decorating, another thrifted champagne bucket, and another tinsel tree from Target. And then these are old stockings that I've had for many years. I want to encourage you to use stockings more than you need, even just use them as a soft decoration. I think that's a great idea. And then here's our finished look. I thrifted that poinsettia and the basket. It's a lot of thrifted pieces here. And I printed off this art piece. It says A Christmas Ball. And I had just found this wreath frame, which I shared in the previous video. The stocking holder was thrifted. Those bells are made from toilet paper rolls that I glued and spray painted green. Oh, I really love how it all turned out. You would never know how homemade and thrifted this whole look is, but I love that you can pull that off. I want people to know that they can get really beautiful, professional looking decorations if they understand how to pull things together. I hope that this actually is really encouraging to you, no matter where you're at financially. You know, it can go up and down in life, and it's good to know that you can still really enjoy your house and still make it special. Well, hello. Today is a very exciting day for me and you, I suppose, I hope. I've been working on the home tour for a while. I've been making a lot of things in our Handmade Holidays group, and I haven't shown you how I'm gonna style it all. So today's the day. I'm gonna take you into my home. I'm gonna show you around and show you
how I decided to incorporate things. Some things I thought would work that didn't work how I had originally thought, and so I'll show you what to do in those scenarios, the different options that you have with the decor that you're working with for Christmas. So I'm wearing my new dress. This is my Amazon.com dress for Christmas that I don't think you will actually see unless I wear it for one of our videos. So I'm wearing it for you today. Normally I will do more of a vlog style video and actually show you a lot of the DIY. There's so much DIY in today's tour that I just thought this is way too much for a video. So we're just gonna walk through the house like friends, and we're going to look at each little thing, and I'm gonna explain the whys behind it and the story, if there is a story. So let's get started. Technically we start on the porch, but I did a whole video on this. I'm gonna link it for you. But I redid the front porch. I wanted it to look very Edwardian, which is a sort of subcategory of the Victorian look, with a little touch, a little bit more masculine. But I just brought in a bunch of greenery, simple things actually from my yard. This porch was free to do. Added wood for our fire and this old church pew that my aunt gave me. I remade this garland. I guess it's a garland. It's pretty big, but it's dried salal, and I just added a whole bunch of extra greenery from my yard to give it this crazy wild texture, and I just love how it turned out. These urns are from my driveway. I pulled these up. I brought them in a wheelbarrow up to the front porch and added greenery to these as well. First off, just to the right of the door is this tree. This is from Vickerman's. I bought this after Christmas last year on sale, and then this was the first time I've actually used it. I really love the metallic vintage tinsel-y looking trees. And there's this little table and chairs and bookshelf off to the corner. I got this little print. I think it's a juniper sprig because it has the little blueberries. I got this off of Etsy that I put in that oval frame. I love changing out artwork with the seasons. I know it's a little extra work, but I feel like it just looks so integrated and authentic when you do that. Okay, then we have the tree. Now these are vellum. I gave these out in my Handmade Holidays group, which is actually technically finished, but I'm going to give you the link if you still want to get the older videos, because you could still make things before Christmas. And then these ornaments are flocked, and so they look like velvet. We made those. And then the pine cones, I had some of these and then got some at Walmart. The baby doll was my mother's. She was a gift from her dad. He came home from World War II and gave it to her. That was the first time they met, and he gave her that. The desk, I just have these little printed vintage postcards, which actually I gave out in my Handmade Holidays group as well, and added these little tinsel-y sprigs that I got at the end of the season from Joann's last year. That's our storage closet back there. We added a curtain so we could have a little covering from some of the storage that happens in there. It is cute in there, but also I like to cover stash in there sometimes. I changed out my art on my frame TV. Got that on Etsy. And these windows I finished. They took me over 15 hours, but those are all covered in paintable wallpaper and pieces of wood that are glued to the window, so I can remove it all easily. and not have to damage my vinyl windows. On the trunk, I have this little letter stand. Is so good. If you see these in antique stores, grab them. They're very cute at Christmas. And my paper whites in my urn. Okay, this corner turned out to be sort of the Santa's desk. I didn't plan it that way, but it actually is really cute. We have these patent drawings that I found online for free. We have the Christmas lights one on the left, the sleigh on the right. I wish my bulletin board was a little bigger, but we're going with it. Then I had this old calendar. I actually found it in the thrift store, so I put it to December and hung that on the wall. And then of course we have a globe and lots of reading books for Santa. His bag, that's a doctor's bag. I got that for $2, which is worth like $100. Book on etiquette, of course. And then I added a little magnifying glass for the globe too. So cute. Okay, this is my all-time favorite part right here. This window seat feels like a store window display, and I just love it. I put the ice skates in here to match the artwork on the TV. Added a velvet ribbon. And then these ornaments are called honeycomb ornaments, and I made these. That's from a muffin liner, a stack of muffin liners, the ruffly one, and then the white one, which is also one of my favorites. I'm showing my two favorites. These are really easy to make, and they look stunning. Very expensive to buy. I added in a bunch of these white pillows in with my regular pillow selection. And the pom-poms just feel like snow to me. Okay, and then on the piano, I had thrifted this wreath, this silvery wreath for $2, and I added a bow. And then I am so excited about these ferns. I bought them on Amazon and they're real, but I believe ferns dry white. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm so interested in this. I'm going to have to start growing a lot of ferns so I can have a ton of these next year. They're so lacy and Victorian. I had these metal houses and I wanted them to look older. I bought them at Kohl's after season a couple years ago. But I painted them and added cinnamon to make them look rusted and aged. And then the trees are either macaroni trees that or bottle brush trees from Target. The next room is the fireside room. And I added, hi kitty. I added this little tree for a reading corner. We strung popcorn, painted those pears gold. These little books I made actually last year. They're from little composition notebooks from the Dollar Tree. And we put covers on them. And then I found this Charles Dickens book at Goodwill, which was perfect. It's a very Victorian idea to put a tree on a table, and so I really wanted to include that this year. And it does have lights, but the camera did not like it, so I didn't have them on for you. Then I just did a selection of old books and children's books and just kind of piled it all. It's really cozy and inviting next to the fire. And yes, my dog does have a small bed. She also has two larger ones she gets to choose from. She likes the small ones sometimes. Okay, then these pillows. I thrifted this fabric. I got it and made the pillows. And then this darling blanket is actually from IKEA, and it was embroidered. It looks so old. I think they still have it too, if you're interested.
We have mistletoe. You know what to do with that. And then over the dog bed is this shelf with her brush and her treats and some cute things. I had so many other things going on that I just kept the stairwell really simple. Put up our knit stockings. I think I got these at LL Bean a couple years ago. They're beautiful, really high quality. And then I just had mercury glass garland that I strung just to add some little sparkles and little festivity, but not too much. Green books tucked in wherever you can. And then we move into the kitchen area. You can just add velvet ribbons to cake plates with Christmas treats. And that's a really easy little touch to add. I cleaned all the shelves and added some red transferware and little bottle brush trees. I have historically been a little cautious to use red in my decorating, but I decided this year that it feels very French, and so I'm doing a lot of baked things and touches of red. And then I made these amber glass ornaments. They were kind of too much contrast to use on the Christmas tree this year, so I have them here with the baking. That's something you can do if you end up not using your ornaments on the tree. Just put them in a dish, and that will work. These cute green trees are from Walmart. I think they're about $8 each. They're currently there. Then I have my soup tureens. Those two lids down there go to the tureens that have my paper whites, so I just left them on the shelf. But that's what's going on there. And then we kind of move into this little dog area. This tree is Curated tree, and this is also Vickerman's. If you see any vintage trees from Vickerman's, I do suggest getting these. She has a little block print bed. I found this at Home Goods currently. They have really cute pet beds at Home Goods right now. This dog print, of course, this isn't what she looks like, but I got this at Brimfield last year, so it's very special to me. Put that there over her little bed, bigger bed, not little bed. And then these ornaments I found at Goodwill, these vintage glass ones. This ribbon is from Joann's currently, and I really loved how French and vintage it looked. Something that you would see maybe in the Little Women's movie. That's actually where I got the inspiration from. We just watched the Little Women's movie in my behind the scenes group together. And then I just left our boots in the wine crate by the door. So it's a nice little corner there. And then back here on my sewing cabinet, I did some more. I had this darling red mailbox that I layered on top of the chalkboard with some greenery and candy canes. And then more Christmas treats, ornaments, in a vintage bowl. Amber glass looks really good mixed in with your baking supplies. It feels like vintage bottles, with vanilla or something. It looks really cute. And then I didn't do a whole lot in the actual kitchen area. We were working on gingerbread houses, and that was fun. The biggest thing I would say in a kitchen is add greenery on top of your cabinets if you can. So just think French bakery. So touches of red, lots of Christmas baking, and then greenery on top of those cabinets if you can. And you're done with the kitchen. Our little powder room I even worked on. That new candle there, that green one, I just love it. It basically looks like a candy dish. If you see candy dishes when you're out thrifting, grab them to make candles. I made that pine cone wreath on the wall. And then the little one over the toilet I found at Joann's after season a couple years ago. I love velvet next to pine cones. I think that's always a win. And then upstairs, I had a second cedar garland. The first one I cut up and I put over the cabinets in the kitchen, but the second one, this is a 30-foot, I put on this beautiful mirror in our hallway. And I have my paper whites that I grew on our Handmade Holidays group, and added moss from the Dollar Tree. I lined my soup tureens with saran wrap before I planted those. I love these taper candles. They actually are covered in wax. You put 2 AA batteries in them, and then you have the switch on the bottom, and they come with a remote. I'll link these for you because they're fantastic. For the cedar garland, I hung it with command hooks, and then once I got it the way I wanted it, I added in velvet bows and these bells, which I also will link. I found these on Amazon, and it just has a real touch, just real finished look that's very elegant and just, I don't know, just the right touch. I really love how this turned out. Dress up your mirrors. That is a great tip. This is our bedroom, and I always redo the bedding. I try to add in greenery to the chandelier, and I really love dressing up our mantle. This is our only true mantle, so I have a lot of fun with this. I did this beautiful ribbon garland, and I have my mother's wedding dress on a dress form, and I added a tree, so it's super cozy in here. And I really got my inspiration this year from William Morris, who, if you know anything about him, he's a fabulous designer that's really having a comeback in the textiles and the wallpaper industry. So I use a lot of patterns from him, and I just really love how this room turned out as well. And then I made a little tree for my girls. We dried these oranges, made more flocked ornaments, and I love crocheted tablecloths for tree skirts. So that's it. Thank you so much for enjoying this and appreciating all my work. Merry Christmas. God bless you, and I will see you next week.
Well, hello my dears, this is Sarah from SheHoldsDearly.com, and today we're going to take a look at the current trends going on in the Christmas decorating arena. I've been studying up on kind of what's going on Pinterest and just among retailers and other bloggers and just decorators and designers, and so I'm going to give you a quick style forecast of what I think's going on this year. Some of it has been going on for a few years and it's still continuing on, and then some of it is new, I think. So it's gonna be fun to look at, and I am going to also share as much as I can the best sources that I know as we go along. Before I get a bunch of comments about how you're above trends and you only do classics, I just want to give a little shout out to trends. I think that they keep us young. I think that they're a fun way to infuse just a shot of life into our decorations that we've been, you know, storing away year after year, and now all of a sudden we want to put navy blue and add more ribbon or something like that. And so I don't think we have to be anti-trend, especially with Christmas decorating. Christmas decorating is so fun because it really brings out the maximalist in all of us. So I'm gonna give you a quick overview of what I feel like is going on with Christmas decorating in 2023. I'm very partial to these looks, so there may be more going on, but we're gonna focus specifically on this Little Women aesthetic that's going on, or they call it Little House on the Prairie. That's very handmade and just very sweet, very doable, very easy to thrift these things, and has some Victorian touches to it. The other look is the Victorian look, and I also would add on Edwardian. I've been using that word a lot in my videos lately because King Edward came after Queen Victoria, who was his mother, and so he took the Victorian style and added just, I don't know, like a little bit more moodiness and a little bit more masculinity to the style, and I really love that look. So one is a little bit more minimalistic or a little bit more handmade than the other one, but they're both very beautiful. I love them both, and they mix very, very well. One of the things I'm really noticing about both of these looks is that they're very conducive to sort of lifestyle decorating, which I love. I encourage people to design their homes in a way that almost feels like a movie set, and you actually sort of create an era that actually existed at one point and is really believable. So that would be things like, you know, changing out your artwork for winter scenes or silhouettes or something. And other things that you would use in like a lifestyle type decorating would be clothing that would be worn, like ice skates, rain boots, scarves, those types of things. Of course, books are natural to include anything that's sort of like daily life, like baking, you know, like keeping a fire going, just a lot of warmth, and of course like beautiful, elegant music. All of that goes really well with this style of decorating. Let's look at 7 different components that we're all familiar with Christmas decorating, and let's look at how to give it a little bit of this Little Women Victorian Edwardian spin. And the first one would be trees. Trees have changed a little bit lately, if you've noticed. The look that feels really like fresh cut, like wild, kind of crazy, especially like bottom heavy and kind of sparse looking, really bottom heavy. That I'm seeing a lot of. Another thing I'm seeing are the tinsel trees. So they're actually made out of, you know, a tinselly material. I have a couple of those in my home this year and I love them so much, so Victorian. And I particularly love the champagne colored ones. I feel like it has just a little bit that shimmer of gold. It doesn't look dirty and it doesn't look like too silvery. So that's a good color, and the brand I like is Vickerman. You can Google that or get Vickerman trees off of Amazon. And then the tabletop tree. I feel like it's starting to become a bigger thing, which is really good for us that have kittens or little kids, and they're very Victorian. If you watch Little Women movies, you'll notice tabletop trees are really common. It's just what they sound like. You just decorate them on a smaller scale, but they're on the top of a table. Number 2, ribbons. Actually, trees lead us very naturally into the topic of ribbons because ribbons are all the rage right now. And I'm talking like velvet and silk with like the frayed edges. I love to get my velvet ribbon from May Arts, and I have seen some good frayed ribbons at Hobby Lobby. You can literally just tie a big droopy bow, you know, big, the bow part is really big and the tails are really long, and you just hang those on each branch. Mixing colors looks really good. And then not just trees, but I also see them in garlands. This one actually behind me is, I use the ribbons as a garland, and I think that looks really beautiful. On my front door, I actually just have a bow with some bells. And so ribbon in different widths and different colors, different textures, combining those together is really gorgeous. That's such a fun, inexpensive way to bring in great decorations that look very vintage. Steering clear of the wired edges. So we really love that big, loose, like droopy look. And it's perfect for at the, you know, the little corners and the peaks of garlands, and then of course by themselves, like what, as garlands as well. Speaking of garlands, number 3, mixed greenery is looking really popular everywhere. And that's fun because you get to take your old wreaths and your old garlands and give them new life by just adding in some new textures, some new greenery. You can get different picks, or you can get things from your yard. That's why I did the garland over my front door. This is an old dried out garland that I had last year, and I just added in a bunch of different crazy wild textures, and it's very English looking, very beautiful, very easy to replicate and bring new life to greenery that you've been using in the past. You can add in pine cones, you could add in dried flowers. I love this picture of this tree that's just full of dried flowers. Dried hydrangeas are having a moment. Baby's breath, so beautiful. If you want to do the baby's breath look, I recommend getting your baby's breath from Costco and just breaking off little bunches and just poking it in different spots around the tree. So easy to do. And then if you're doing garlands, there's a lot of asymmetry. You know, building up one side of the mantle just way bigger than the other side. Number 4, bells. Now these have been going strong for a few years, the bells have. But I do think they just add that, just the cherry on top when you're dealing with a garland, to add in a few bells. Even 3 of them is nice. And gold bells are a great way to go. I like them layered, you know, on top of ribbon, which is on top of greenery or something like that. Looks just amazing. Number 5 would be tree decor. I feel like we went through a real Scandinavian season for, you know, for a few years there, where literally we had nothing on our trees, which was nice. But the ornaments are back. Definitely fun to do handmade ones. This year I made flocked ornaments, so they look like velvet. I made amber glass ornaments. I made these honeycomb ornaments, which were my very, very, very favorite. So beautiful and so Victorian looking. I made little gold ornaments by painting. I spray painted little woodland animals and just hot glued a velvet ribbon on top. And there's 2 ways that you can add the ribbon that I want to point out with the ornaments. You can do the loop with the knot at the top. That's one option that looks really good right now. And then the other one is just to have, I don't know, I would cut maybe a foot of ribbon and then tie it onto your branch and let the tails hang down. And that looks especially with a wider ribbon. The dried orange slices are going strong still, and that is classic Little Women, Little House on the Prairie look. So easy to do in a dehydrator or an oven. And you can make garlands with them, or you can just do individual ornaments. Mercury glass, which has been around a few years. In fact, it's pretty easy to make. I didn't do it this year in my Handmade Holidays group, but I'm gonna do that next year. I'm gonna show you how to make mercury glass. And you can even make, you know, beaded garland out of that looks like mercury glass. That's a fun one. Number 6 would be candles. Like, we always have candles. We always have candles at Christmas, but they are especially charming. You know, put one in a window or use taper candles that are battery operated. I'm gonna link my favorite ones. I love, you can set a timer, 2 hours or 8 hours or They're such a great product, and they're actually coated with wax on the outside. I'm all about the battery operated taper candles these days. Also the candles on the trees, because come on, that is so Victorian. I'll link my favorite ones for that as well, the clip-on ones for trees. And I mean, I feel like the battery operated candles are a little bit expensive in my mind anyway, and so I kind of just add to my collection each year, but I'm getting a better and better stash. The other thing I would say about especially taper candles is they are also incorporated in this whole asymmetry look that's going on. So instead of clustering them all in the middle of a mantle or spreading them all out, putting them all up on one side, or at least like on my mantle in my room, there's like 2 on one side and then 3 on the other side. So, and last of all, let's talk about stockings. I'm really excited to see that the whole like tapestry look is very popular with stockings, and also that stockings are not just relegated to, okay, every person gets one stocking. They're more used like a soft furnishing now. So if you see them out thrifting, or I mean, I probably wouldn't drop hundreds of dollars on this, but if you think, oh, I don't need any more stockings, but you like the stocking and you want to get it, I feel like they're popping up more and more, you know, like hanging on dressers or bedposts on a bed or on hooks in the kitchen, or I don't know, I just feel like stockings are just more than actual stockings for gifts, but they're an actual decoration. And when you hang them, this has been around for a few years now, but do them asymmetrically. So group them and then put them off center. I mean, it's such an easy little twist to bring new life into your decorating. So let me know which one was your favorite in the comments below. Let me know if you want to be in the giveaway to have a room redone in your house, or if you would like the artwork. We've got some fun things going on, and don't forget, we have our Christmas pricing just for a few more weeks on the Bespoke Design Retreat. We're offering smaller payments that you can do if you'd love to come on my women's retreat that I do in Virginia in the fall. I would love to have you there if you would like to join us. All right, thank you so much for watching. You guys take care, and I will talk to you next week.